So in order to set long-term goals, you need to be able to imagine yourself having a long life. So when it comes to setting goals, we need equipment. Hello beautiful souls, I'm Sasha, welcome back to my channel, here to support you in living your most abundant life. We talk about healing, personal development, self-growth, abundance and love. And today I want to talk to you about setting long-term goals, and specifically if you're someone who has really struggled to set goals that A, you can even envision as possible for you, or B, where you just consistently self-sabotage and you never really take the steps that you need to take to really get there. So let's just go back to the very basics of why goal setting is actually quite important. If you want anything to happen in your life, if you want a specific thing to happen, you need to set an intention, make a plan, create a goal for it. They're all kind of the same word for the same thing. Let's use a really basic example. Say you wanted to plan a wedding. You would need to create an intention around the date, how many people you wanted there. You would need to set a goal of like, this wedding is going to happen. And we all take this kind of goal setting for granted. If you are someone who has had trauma in your past, you probably find it really, really difficult to envision long-term plans and therefore find it really hard to create long-term goals that you can work towards. If you really want to be successful, if you want to achieve something, make an impact in some way, you're going to need to learn. Otherwise, literally nothing will happen. Your life will just flow and it will be beautiful. Beautiful things will still carry on in your world. It's just that you won't really be creating an impact. You'll be living reactively to the things that are happening around you. And that can still be a lovely life, but you're disempowered in that space. You're not making things happen in your world, you're just responding to things. And this is why goal setting is really important, because then you get to be the one to create what happens in your world. So let's just quickly go through why childhood trauma in particular really impacts our ability to set and stick to working towards long-term goals. If you are in your trauma response, if your nervous system is highly activated and you're in fight or flight, you're in survival mode, then you only have the mental capacity to deal with what is happening in your immediate environment and the very short-term future. Because all of your energy, all of your body, you are hyper aware, you are hyper vigilant, and you are focused on surviving. So your brain is literally making you stay focused on the now and everything that's happening in the immediate environment so that you can stay alive. Your brain and body has no need to think ahead into the future because it feels under threat right now. So you're stuck in this very short-term space and you physically can't make goals for the future. Or if you do, you just have no, we talk about when we're manifesting, talking about really feeling what it would feel like to be that person in the future and to feel the achievement of a goal. And if you're in your trauma response, you literally cannot do that. It's impossible. Trust me, like I tried so many times prior to doing so much trauma healing work. I tried to embody this vision of this more confident, successful, me, and it was just like nothing. I was completely flat. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even imagine it. So this is where I want to take you to step number 1 of learning how to create long-term goals for yourself. The first really important thing is that you need to be able to imagine yourself as an older version of you. And this may sound really basic, but it's something that I couldn't do for the longest time. I couldn't foresee myself having a life 10 years into the future. I just couldn't see it. My imagination couldn't create it because I was so focused on surviving the now moment. So this is what I want you to do first. If you really struggle with setting long-term goals, I want you to start by just imagining yourself as an old person and just see what happens. See what happens in your brain when you try and envision yourself 30 years from now. Because in all likelihood, you're going to live to, 80 years old. So you've got a really good chance, just statistically, of living to an old age. So I want you to just imagine yourself as an old person and just see what happens. See how that feels in your body. but you need to be able to do this as a first step to setting really successful long-term goals. Second, I want you to focus on feeling safe in your body as that older person. There's no use in trying to envision us in the future but feeling really anxious and afraid about who that person is or how they're going to be or how we're going to get there. We want to really feel calm and relaxed and safe in that space, envisioning a long life for ourselves. So I'm not going to go into all the details here because we've got a whole video on that, how to feel safe in your body, so go check that out. But I want you to feel safe in this vision of you having a long life. So in order to set long-term goals, you need to be able to imagine yourself having a long life. So now on to the fun stuff, actually setting the goals. So as with everything, if you're healing, if you're on a journey of personal development, self-growth, start small. You have to start small. So the best way to do this is to set weekly goals. And honestly, this is not too different from a to-do list, but it's much more intentional and it's much more empowered and less reactive. So you're going to set some goals that you're going to achieve by the end of the week or Monday to Friday, 5 days, and they're going to be really simple and they're going to be things that are easy for you to tick off and achieve. They're not going to be stretch goals in any way. That's where you start. So the way I do it looks a bit like this. It looks like kind of a to-do list, honestly, but they're things that I say that this is what I want to make happen. And that's the really powerful thing, is setting the intention that this thing's going to happen and then I make it happen. And that's really good for our self-esteem and a really good step number one. So next up, if you feel really confident doing that, monthly goals. And this forces you to have a wider perspective of what is possible for you to do within 1 month. So part of the learning process and why we find it so hard to stick with long-term goals is that we really have no idea about our own capacity to achieve certain things and what that time frame might be. We're so used to being told this is what needs to happen, this is what you need to do by this time, and we're sort of always working to external forces and external factors. So no wonder we have no idea how to create our own plan and timeline for how something's going to happen. This is about bringing your power back. I talk about this a lot because this is what this channel is about, right? Bringing your power, the locus of control, back to you. So monthly goals. You're going to start setting monthly goals, and I would suggest just 4 or 5 things that you know that are a little bit more strategic, but that you know that you can achieve or at least be thinking about over the course of the month to see how far you get. It's not necessarily that you have to have done these things, it's just like the umbrella for what you're considering over the month. And this works really well, of course, for business, but also for your personal life. Like if you're looking to make new friends, socialize more, start a new hobby, monthly goals are a perfect place to put that. And then I would stop there. Stop at monthly goal setting and weekly to-do lists and let yourself begin to feel safe with that. Truly, the timeline that works for different people is different. For me, I had to be doing monthly goals for like 2 years before I began to feel comfortable setting longer term goals. That was just me. You might have a different timeline of your own life, but the whole point is that you need to get comfortable setting an intention and then allowing yourself to work towards it. And all we're doing is extending the time frame. So after you've done monthly, you can go to 6 monthly, you can go to quarterly if that works for you. And then what happens after a while, after you've been doing this for a while, honestly, probably a year, I would give yourself a year. And I know that might sound scary to you if you're watching this video thinking, I can't even set goals for the week. But if you relax, hold that vision that you have a long life ahead of you. You've got 30, 40, 50 years still to live, maybe even longer. Then goal setting for a year is just like nothing. Of course I can do that. And then what happens once you've got used to setting these intentions and having this structure for yourself in your life, you will begin to feel safer with longer term predictive goals for yourself. You will begin to get a sense of what you can really do within the space of 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You will see how much you change and grow, and you will begin to see that you can make more of an impact over a longer term. And you will start getting bigger ideas. So bigger ideas will come to you. If you've ever read the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, I highly recommend it. It's really beautiful. It's about creative ideas and how they sort of arrive to us. And what will happen is that your ideas will begin to get bigger, because your capacity, your mental capacity, will have changed from being so hyper-aware, hyper-focused, hyper-vigilant on the now and on the short term, and you have extended it. You have extended your own vision to be wider, to be bigger for longer time frames. I've got to add as well that it's not just about setting the targets, setting the goals, it's also healing your nervous system at the same time. So every time we take these little steps, we've got to be with ourselves and allow ourselves to feel comfortable there, comfortable in this new zone. And really setting big long-term goals is out of our comfort zone if we have experienced trauma and have been living in a trauma response for our whole lives. It's out of our comfort zone to imagine something 5 years ahead. And that feels wild, but it's true. So I want you to really focus on you, your body, your bodily reactions, and take it step by step, slowly, slowly. The difference between people who are really successful and people who are not is their ability to hold a big vision for what they want to do, and that is what I'm teaching you through this video. Taking these small steps, being able to envision yourself having a long life. You're really relearning how much sovereignty you actually have and how much control you really have over what you do with your time and the impact that you make, and you don't have to live such a reactive life. You actually can control way more of how your energy flows than you think. You can do this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next video.